I'm Andy Green with FoxTalk, joined by retired Rear Admiral Eileen Laubacher, the Democratic nominee for Colorado's 4th Congressional District. Admiral Laubacher, thank you for speaking with us.
Oh, you're so welcome, Andy. Thank you for having me here today.
What went through your mind when you heard that 2 American service members had been killed?
You know, Andy, this is just so very difficult, right? As someone who served in the military for 34 years, who has a son who's currently serving in the Navy, this is incredibly painful because we just don't need to be here. We have now lost 16 service members and have one who is missing in a war that we did not need to have. And in a war that Lauren Boebert said that she opposed, and she's voted in favor of it 3 times, to include most recently the deciding vote, which has kept us in this fight. It's just outrageous.
Do you support the retaliatory strikes President Trump ordered?
I can understand why President Trump would order retaliatory strikes, but it is important to understand that this war was originated by Lauren Boebert voting in support of it. This is a war that was not necessary and has cost service members' lives, not to mention $100 to $150 billion that we did not need to be spending on this.
Do you believe President Trump has a credible plan to end this war?
I think that what we've seen time and again is that Secretary Hegseth has no plan. He talks about these goals, but they shift all the time. And I would say that as someone who served in the military for 34 years, starting a war with no defined end plan, with no way out, is leading us into really a quagmire that is costing lives and money, and it is just wrong.
Does President Trump have the constitutional authority to continue these strikes without another vote in Congress?
So I believe this is a huge problem that we have going on right now. This administration does not seem remotely interested in abiding by the fact that Congress is supposed to be the one that decides if and when we are at war. And I think that Congress should absolutely be raising their voices and saying they must have a voice in this action. Because otherwise, we're going to go into this continual spin that could go on interminably, costing more and more lives, more and more dollars, making things more and more expensive for the people of Congressional District 4. We see that in every way.
If you were in Congress today, would you vote to authorize continued military action against Iran?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
I believe this war has no plan, right? The Department of Defense has not told us what it is they hope to achieve and how they are going to go about achieving it. Right now, they're talking about taking us things back to where we started from, having the Straits of Hormuz be open again. We have done irreparable damage to our international reputation, and not only that, but we have lost people's lives, not just our own, but those of our allies and our partners and the people of Iran, for no purpose, to get us back to where we were at the beginning.
Does President Trump bear any responsibility for what happened in Jordan?
I think this administration bears all the responsibility for what happened in Jordan. Those service members did not have to die. We did not have to be in this war. We did not have to have this fight. What
questions should Congress ask about how those service members were protected?
We don't know. And I think that those are exactly the kinds of questions that our Congress people should be asking. And it's the kind of questions that I don't think Lauren Boebert even understands how to ask. But her responsibility is to represent the people of this district. And when I'm out talking to the people in the district, they do not support this Iran war. They do not think this is necessary. They do not think that this is making us safer in the short or the medium or the long term.
Would you vote to send American ground troops into Iran?
No.
Your campaign says Lauren Boebert voted to continue this war.
Yes.
Which votes are you referring to?
She was very clear in the beginning about the fact that she would always vote against this war. She seemed like she was going to stand up for this because she knows what the people in the district do and don't want. But when push came to shove, she's voted in support of it 3 times.
How would you have voted differently?
I would have not voted in that way. I would have voted to say this war needs to end. This is just wrong, and it is not what the people of this district want. It is not, I believe, what the American people want.
How should Congress respond to the higher fuel prices tied to this war?
Well, I think that's another example of why congressional voices are so important and why Congress is the one who needs to decide if we declare war. Because Congress answers to the people, and the people are outraged by the prices that are happening. But it's more than that in this district. It's also the cost of fertilizer, which is off the charts expensive for people. And I don't think that Lauren Boebert is paying attention to the impact that that's going to have on our farmers now and in the future.
What do you want Colorado military families to hear from you today?
I think what I want Colorado military families to hear is that as a veteran, I understand how serious it is to be sent to war. I understand the personal cost, not just for the service member, but for their entire family. I went to Afghanistan in 2009, leaving my husband and my 5 children behind. I know the cost that that had on us then and even now. I want them to know that I will represent their voices, because that is the job of the people in Congress, to represent the voices of those, to speak truth to power, and to fight on behalf of our troops.
What does ending the war look like?
That is a great question, Andy. I think that we have a real problem here, because I think that the challenge that this administration is going to have is how do we get back to the status quo when we have empowered Iran and they are getting richer as a result of this. Even though they've had enormous human cost, they are now able to ship oil. They now realize the control that they have with regards to the Strait of Hormuz. I don't see an easy exit plan, and I do not envy the administration for having to try to figure out their way out of this. I think that what they're going to end up with is prolonged negotiations, which are going to leave us weaker than when we started.